Hey, all my Virgo rising. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today with your February 2025 monthly horoscope. These horoscopes are based on whole sign Western astrology. So when I'm referring to Virgo, I'm referring to Virgo rising and as the first house and dictating the landscape of the chart. This is also applicable to Virgo sun and Virgo moon, but the house structure will not be the same. If you don't know your rising sign, you'll want to go to one of the free birth calculators on the internet. You just need your exact time of birth and location to determine that information. When I talk about a time and a location, it's based on the Pacific time zone, so please adjust for your location. The month starts off with the main things that are happening this month is Jupiter is going to go direct in Gemini and Mars will go direct in Cancer. This is pretty significant. We will be having a full moon on the 12th at 24 degrees of Leo. I'll be doing a separate video on that. The sun will be conjunct Mercury at the time of the full moon. And I think this is going to bring some illuminations that have to do with our thinking, with how we've been imprinted through our childhood, and things that have to do with our siblings or our the people we interacted with as children and how they imprinted us in some way. We will have a new moon at the end of the month at 27 degrees of Pisces at 4:44 a.m. Again, I'll be doing separate video on that as well. Today is February 3rd. I won't go into my tardiness, but let's just say the transits have affected my ability to get this stuff out on a timely fashion. We saw February start with the North Node, Venus, and Neptune all conjunct at 28 degrees of Pisces. This 28th degree is significant because it reduces down to a 10. And the 10s and any series of ones are spirit alerting you to be aware of your thoughts because your thoughts are manifesting very quickly. And on top of that, the 28th degree is the Cancerian degree. So the thoughts will be of how do I nurture myself? How do I take care of myself? How do I put myself as a priority when I'm a Virgo who's predisposed to put others as a priority, to look at myself as the one who is of service to others? Virgo is a sign that represents the physical health, but also how the mental health affects the physical health. You have recently experienced the South Node entering your first house. That South Node is a point where we are willing to surrender to something, to allow it to transform, to be released in order to make way for something more aligned to our soul's truth. Oftentimes, it's a release of toxicity, and yet that toxicity may feel like a bit of stability inadvertently when you look at it through the human lens. This Pisces energy is your seventh house of partnerships, of cooperation, and of harmony and peace and fairness. So there's going to be a lot of focus on that throughout the spring, and it's being teed up here in February. I'm now going to pull up the chart and show you what's happening, starting with Venus moving into Aries. I'm sorry, yeah, Venus entering Aries. Here on the 4th, we see that Venus has entered Aries. Aries is your eighth house of other people's money, of transformation, of, power and control over us in some ways. People through that psychological, they know you so well, they know how to kind of manipulate you sometimes. The eighth house can be manipulative in some ways. But here, I think it's for you about looking at how you can exercise your independence and your bravery and your own sense of self-worth as you engage people in your vision and your talents and your creativity. Venus rules money. She's here on the world axis right now. Literally, when you're at 0 degrees of Aries, regardless of where it is in your chart, it is the beginning of creating something that you are unfamiliar with. It is like the I can't describe it. It's literally the splash into the physical. And here it's going to be focused in on finances, on the power of sex over us, on how our fears can manipulate us into relationships that don't serve us. It's also on the higher vibrations, very individualistic, offering you that opportunity to use your skills, use your talents, use your self-confidence to birth a new version of yourself. Now, Venus is going to move all the way to 10 degrees, and then she's going to retrograde in March back into your seventh house. And so by the end of February, it's going to be concentrated in your house of partnerships and cooperation. And I think this is important because one of the things that you're going to be doing as a Virgo rising is releasing your rigidity, any self-criticisms or perfectionisms that are eroding your sense of self, because you've got your standards like way up here that are not really reasonable for the human structure and how we're designed. Let's move. Oh, I also want to mention that now we see Jupiter has gone direct on this very day, and Jupiter will again station in Gemini where it is in detriment. This is your 10th house of career, of public status, giving you an opportunity to really reflect on the broader concepts, and in those broader concepts, how not to put them into application through the lens of your own mind, but how to connect with spirit to divinely guide you into how to implement those new philosophies, that expansion of wealth, that wanting to create more physical and financial security for yourself. I think this is very powerful. We also see Mars in Cancer. Cancer is in your 11th house of networks of friends, like, the World Wide Web platforms like TikTok and Facebook and all those platforms that we interact socially. I think this is going to give you, with Mars transiting that house, is giving you an opportunity to really look and see if the groups that you're interacting with are aligned to what is your deeper truth and what your hopes and dreams are. And do you feel nurtured and loved and supported within those groups? I also think that for my Virgos, the tension of Mars's detriment in Cancer could be pushing you on some level to think individually when you're used to thinking in a group way. How do I support others? And in the supporting of others, you could inadvertently be dumbing yourself down, which is actually not as effective as it would be if you were representing the truth of your heart and inviting others to do the same. I hope that made sense. On the 10th, we are going to see Uranus in a square with the Sun and Mercury. And Uranus is in Taurus. Taurus is your 9th house of beliefs, of foreign travel, foreign people. It's been transiting through that house since 2017, really bringing in new concepts, new ideas, even a sense of electricity sometimes. And I say that because that sense of electricity could come in the form of anxiety. And that anxiety is literally a flag saying that you're moving in the direction that is not authentic to your soul's deeper truth, that you're over focused on service to others and the service of self, and making sure that you get plenty of rest and you take care of your physical apparatus is important for you to truly be of service to others and to help support their whatever I kind of think of it this way. When we're of service to others, sometimes we're literally the employee, sometimes we're the employer, sometimes we're, doing things, from a sense of we want to help heal somebody. And here, what I think is the tension here between Uranus and the Sun and Mercury is, heal thyself, physician, heal thyself first. Take care of your ego, watching your thoughts, because if they are too focused on others, this Aquarius is your 6th house of service where you naturally rule, then you're inadvertently depleting the self and representing something that isn't viable for the future, isn't viable and sustainable. The thing about Saturn going through your 7th house for such a long time, since 2020, I think late 23, early 24, is really looking for sustainability in all your relationships, looking for something that endures on a level that you can build upon. And that's usually an even exchange of energy, not one doing more than the other. And inadvertently, our lovely little Virgos can pick up a little bit more than their share of the heavy lifting. Okay, Mercury will enter Pisces on Valentine's Day, and the Sun will follow on the 18th. Now I'm going to go to the 22nd. On the 22nd, we see Mercury. Well, actually, I'm going to go to the 25th. No, I'm going to go to the 24th first. Sorry, I keep doing this to myself. On the 24th, we see Mars has gone direct at 17 degrees of Cancer. Again, Mars is in fallen Cancer, so it's not very happy. It doesn't get to move very quickly. It has to sort of be more aware of other people's emotional bodies and how they interact. And so Mars has to be conscious of its behavior. And here I think that Mars is starting to understand that at the core, humans are emotional beings. And as Mars moves through the 11th house and then ultimately into your 12th house, it's going to start to think about how to display actions from a leadership heart-based platform versus duty to outside structures that have been traditionally created but really are antiquated and not serving the Uranian dynamic of moving you into the future. On the 25th, we're going to see an exact conjunction between Mercury and Saturn. And I think this is important because this is where I'm really tasked to look at my fears. This is the 20th degree, is the Capricorn degree. It's not just fears and limitations, but am I willing to build? Am I willing to sustain the uncomfortable self-reflection of seeing how my ruling planet Mercury sometimes runs me versus me running it? I think this is further evidenced by Chiron's at 20 degrees, and Chiron is squaring Mars. This is about the self. This is a wound of the self that is, uh, when it comes to Virgo, I really believe that this is kind of where the you've finished your childhood education through high school, maybe even college, and you've moved into the workforce in the sixth house. And you suddenly experience the stress of other people's agendas, where you're not coddled by the family giving you a birth. Meaning, a little wiggle room to be imperfect. That's why I believe that Virgo is so focused on, I have to be perfect. I have to do it right. I have to make sure all the processes are, the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted. And I think that this is where you get to learn that your imperfections add to your sense of growth and understanding when you get into the ebb and the flow of the seventh house. So as you're walking through that sixth house Aquarian energy that's naturally your house, it's an opportunity to revolutionize yourself, to move into a new version of how you are of service. I hope that made sense because in my head it did. Okay, we do so that's why I think all of this is so important, because this is where I'm identifying my fears. Where do they hold me back? Where do I give up too easily and default to old habits? If I'm of service to others, I can still feel purposeful, but I'm not really feeding my heart. Here's Venus at 10 degrees, stationing to retrograde in about less than a week as she moves back into her exaltation. She's at the Capricorn degree, Chiron's at the Capricorn degree. So there's going to be a lot of energy here about the initial authority and structures and limitations attached to these planets' energies. And am I willing to move that into, to direct it through my intentions and my thoughts? That's that North Node stretching for that peace and harmony of your own co-creation and flow. Now we go to the 28th and the month. Oh, on the 27th, we'll have the new moon. I'm going to do a separate video on that, as I said at the beginning of this video. But now look at all these planets. Literally, Neptune, Mercury, Saturn, the sun and the moon are all in Pisces. And while the sun and the moon will move on, both Mercury and Venus will retrograde in Pisces in March, and we'll see eclipse season start in March. So this month of February is about awareness. It's about intention. It's about meditation. It's about connecting to a deeper truth that I might think is impractical or is not realistic in my Virgonian perception. And yet here I am stretching for my divinity and to see things from a soul's perception and a soul's point of view. Because from soul's point of view, our thoughts are things, and our focused thoughts create a law of attraction where the universe starts to compile and conspire to bring those elements into your experience. So when you worry, you will find tons of material evidence to prove that your worry is valid. And yet it is your focus of that worry that brings those elements in to support it. When you flip the script and surrender to spirit, which the North Node is compelling you to do, and the South Node is asking you to release the toxicity of perfection, of rigidity, of self-criticism, you open the space in such a way that then that Virgo energy of power and process becomes so amazing in your life, because then you implement your divine tools and you process through that lens that then brings all of that into your material world that then supports your service to others. I hope that made sense for you. This is it from me for February 2025. I will be live on February 5th from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific time, where I'll be doing tarot card readings focused on your specific questions. You can come in, put your question in the chat. We'll be taking the questions first come, first serve. If you decide to donate through Super Chat or Super Thanks, you'll move to the head of the class and you'll get your question answered as a priority. Other than that, I hope that you'll be back in March. Please like, please subscribe, please share, and check out. There's a lot more content on my channel and more content coming through. I'll see you soon, Virgo. Have a wonderful, wonderful February. Bye-bye.